Here we are ready for table 9147, a box table, which we are going to turn into a medical form for patient information in the medical office that we are simulating working for in this lesson. On the left, there is an alert this time, 2 of them in fact. To ensure accurate scoring of keystroking, always press Enter 1 time before entering text in the blank cells of this table. And for accurate format scoring, be sure to apply shading using the Borders and Shading dialog box and select 25% shading from the style box. See Lesson 68 of your Word manual for a refresher on that. For this table, turn to page 371 in your textbook and review the instructions there for typing this table. They are summarized over here on the right in our checklist. You will notice that the instructions say to insert a table with 1 column and 15 rows. But you can choose to do it in a different way. You can use 15 rows and 3 columns and then merge cells. So you need to choose whether you want to merge cells or split cells in this assignment. I'm going to go for purposes of the demonstration with merging. So let's insert our table. We want 3 columns, 15 rows, and we will not be auto-fitting this table. This is meant to be a form that we want to fill all the space on the page except for the margins and give people enough room to fill in the information. So no auto-fitting or squeezing out the space is appropriate for this form. Okay, now we're going to merge our cells to create a form that looks like the one on page 371. Select the first row and merge the cells. We can do this as we go. While this row is selected, the heading is going to be bold. The heading is going to be bold, and it's going to be 14 point, and it's going to be Cambria. It's also going to be centered. Now here we're going to run into this problem that the checklist talks about here. We need, as the diagram shows on page 371, a blank line before the heading that says patient information. If you press Enter, you are kicked out of the table. So this is a workaround. Press Shift Enter. This is called a soft return. Then press Enter one more time. Then we're going to go back and delete that soft return. Then we can type our heading. Press Enter 1 time. Then press Tab to move to the next row. These cells, the entire row needs to be merged, so we can do that. Let's try setting up our form for all of the following rows. In the next one, we want to merge 2 cells, and the same in the next. We wanted to merge 2 cells for 2 rows. The next row is going to have city, state, and zip in 3 cells. And then we merge the entire row for the email address. Next, we merge all 3 for the next heading. Then we merge the next row for employer. Then we merge 2 cells for street address. 3 will remain unmerged for city, state, and zip. Then we merge a row for the final heading. Merge the next row and the next row. Then we do something a little trickier for the last 2 rows in the table. Merge 2 cells. We only want 2 cells, or the equivalent of 2 columns, in these last 2 rows. Then we are going to drag over that center line until we get to the middle of the table, and I'm lining that up with the paragraph mark that was centered above patient information. So now we're set up so that we can type our rows and then apply remaining formatting if needed. We are asked, remember, to press enter before we type the information, so we type date and a colon. Press tab. Okay, before street address, press enter. Tab, press enter and type phone. Press tab, press enter, type city. Press tab, enter state, tab, enter zip. And remember that all 3 letters need to be capitalized. This is an acronym. Press tab, press enter, then email, colon, and tab. Now we're ready for our next heading. So press enter, center, bold, Cambria, and 14-point font size. Turn on caps lock and type employer information and enter. Tab to the next row, press enter once and type employer. Tab, enter street address. Tab, enter phone. Tab, enter city. Tab, enter state. Tab, enter zip. All capital letters on that one. Tab again, and we're ready for our last heading. Press enter. Press bold, center, Cambria, and increase the font size to 14. Turn on caps lock and type insurance information and press enter once. Tab, turn off caps lock, type name of company. Press enter first and then name of company. Tab, enter address. Tab, enter phone. Tab, enter policy number. Tab, enter signature. Tab, enter date. Come back to this row, make it bold for signature and date. We applied bold to rows 1, 7, 11, and 15, and now we're going to apply 25% shading to rows 1, 7, 11, and 15. We can select each one if you hold down Control before you click, Control, click, and Control, click. Now all of those rows are selected. We're going to go to the Borders and Shading dialog box located here with the drop-down arrow. Come to Borders and Shading, go to the Shading tab, and under Style, click 25% and OK. Now if we take off our selection, we can see that each row we had selected is now shaded at 25%. If any manual adjustment is needed in your table to match what is shown here, please do that, and be sure that your table is taking up the entire width of the page except for the margins. Remember not to use AutoFit, and we don't need to center it horizontally because it is stretching the entire width of the page, even though I do have that step over here in the checklist. Okay, at this point, save, submit your document to GDP for scoring. I made it through with 0 errors, so I will see you next time.